I usually start these dinners with a few self-deprecating jokes. After my stellar 2013, what could I possibly talk about? We rolled out healthcare.gov. That could have gone better. In 2008, my slogan was, yes, we can. In 2013, my slogan was, Control, Alt, Delete. Things got so bad, the 47% called Mitt Romney to apologize.
Some good timing there from President Obama last night. We'll have more on the Correspondents' Dinner later, but we're going to get to the roundtable right now here with David Plouffe, President Obama's top political strategist in the White House, former top strategist Rick Santorum, served in the Senate from Pennsylvania, also the runner-up for the GOP nomination for president last time around. Author of the new book, Blue Collar Conservatives. Also talk radio host Laura Ingraham, Van Jones from CNN's Crossfire, and our own Cokie Roberts. And let's begin with this Benghazi debate. David Plouffe, you're actually on that email that caused so much trouble this week. It was an email to you and several others from Ben Rhodes. And everybody keying in on this line in the email to underscore, this is the goals of the Sunday morning appearance, to underscore that these protests are rooted in an internet video, not a broader failure of policy. A lot of Republicans saying this is the smoking gun. I know you dismissed that, but was it a mistake not to release this email earlier?
No, I think, lawyers have spoken to this, and it's out now. I think, listen, what Benghazi was a tragedy. What we need to do is figure out how to prevent it from happening again and to try and hold those accountable, as we did bin Laden. It took a while, but after 11 years, we did. I think what you see, listen, the USS Cole bombing, 17 of our sailors died. The weeks before the 2000 election, what did then Governor Bush say? It's time for our nation to speak as one voice. Now, you couldn't handle that in this party. This has been politicized like we've never seen before. And I think what's happening, Richard Nixon talked about a silent majority back in 1968. There's a very loud, delusional minority that's driving our politics, that's in control of the Republican Party. There's no conspiracy here at all.
Loud, delusional minority, Laura?
Well, this is why Obama won in 2008. This guy is really good. And look, what we know now from the email is that from the beginning, the administration saw Benghazi as a political problem. You're on that email. You were the White House, senior political advisor, and this was a political problem. You had a tough campaign. You had Mitt Romney. You didn't think it was going to be a big blowout at that point. You said, and I just want to go back, I think this is important. You said on September 30th, September 12th, you said, in the days afterward, it wasn't clear that it was a terror attack. You said in November, right before the election, you said it's unprecedented politicization. The politicizing was going on at the White House, and that email was clear evidence of it. And the State Department admitted in the new email just released, Cheryl Atkinson had the report, that the Secretary of State, the Assistant Secretary of State, Beth Jones, said Ansar al-Sharia responsible for this attack.
I don't think
you knew it was a terror attack.
I don't think we want to have a prosecution here. The fact is
I think people want a prosecution, actually.
Looking at the reporting on Benghazi, it's like alternate universes. Yeah. You have one group of people saying, look, there was nothing, we weren't doing anything here, and another group of people saying it was all evil. The truth is, the White House should have released this email. That was a big either mistake or venality. And it's also true that everybody does talking points before Sunday programs, and that the talking points are about politics and limiting political damage.
Can I just say a couple of things? Look, first of all, I worked in the White House. You get these FOIA requests. Let's talk about reality. You get these FOIA requests. It's a judgment call. You have a lot of stuff to get out there. They got out there what they thought was appropriate. Then they looked at it again. And it turns out there were 2 bullet points out of like 20 that were on Benghazi. You know what? Let's get more out. So no good deed goes unpunished. They actually did another review and put more out there, and now that's a...
So this was in response to a different set of subpoenas by the Judicial Watch. But I want to bring this over to Rick Santorum. You're not serving right now. We did see at the end of the week the Speaker appointing a new special committee. There have been countless reviews, countless hearings on this. Do you think it's wise politics for the GOP in the House to be pushing this again in this way?
I can tell you that there's a firestorm out there across America among a lot of Republicans who believe that we have not been diligent in taking this issue on, and this email is going to confirm all of that. And so I think the Speaker has no choice but to move forward, and he needs to put on someone who has credibility among the Republican base. And I think Trey Gowdy is that person, and I'm very hopeful that the Speaker will put him in that position.
But I think it speaks to the forces in the Republican Party. John Boehner didn't want to do this. He was forced to do it. And I think let's look at what should be done here. Rather than, there's been 33 investigations, over 25,000 documents. What ought to be done here is not another bogus committee. The real work to protect our embassies. You know, the committee that was appointed to look at this, chaired by Admiral Mullen, our former Joint Chiefs of Staff, had 29 recommendations. They're all being implemented. A big one was additional embassy security and protection, which this Republican Congress won't fund. So start there instead of bogus investigations.
I think that's one of the things that actually is troubling here. We actually are in a situation where the Republicans who are yelling about this now did not do the appropriate funding early on. And one
respond to that.
Well, first of all, we have to not forget we have 4 dead Americans. U.S. Ambassador's body was dragged through the streets, okay? It was beyond heartbreaking and beyond infuriating. We still have no one in custody, have an arrest warrant out, no one in custody. And in the immediate aftermath, the response was to go political. Yeah. And I would say, David or Van, if this were George Bush who had done anything like this, you would be going nuts on it. Okay?
I want to respond to this. That's not fair.
You would be going ballistic.
First of all, there were 13 embassy attacks under George W. Bush. There were 13. 88 people died. 11 Americans. 11 Americans died.
You would be screaming conspiracy.
11 Americans died under George W. Bush in embassy attacks. We did not politicize it.
We went political.
We did not politicize it. The politicization, I knew Ambassador Stevens.
So you're saying this was handled well? This was handled well.
It's a disservice to him for you to take a national tragedy and turn it into a political opportunity.
Right away. We are always doing this business of trying to prosecute and criminalize horrible disasters.
We did that under George Bush with the embassy attacks.
It's been going on for many, many years now in Washington.
Not embassy attacks.
And the fact is that just is not, it doesn't get you anywhere.
Why was the president on Letterman in The View selling this narrative?
The only place it gets you is to some political points with the base of your party. I think, I think the White House has handled this horribly. And I think that the fact is that, when you start dribbling out emails.
But, Cokie, why did they do it?
People then start to be very, very suspicious.
The only difference here is between these other attacks and what happened here is that the Bush administration did not put out a false narrative as to what happened in those situations. Van. They put out a narrative that was not supported by the evidence, and they knew
that is absolutely not true.
And they knew it was false from the very beginning. They knew this was a terrorist incident. The CIA knew it was a terrorist incident. It's very clear what people knew. The State Department knew, and they put out something that they knew, or at least a lot of people knew, was wrong. That's what makes this different than everything else. And don't try to equate the two because George Bush did not try to move the ball to some other deflector.
When you read the transcript of those Sunday shows, actually, Ms. Rice did say terrorist attack. That's there in those transcripts. It's not that she's put the whole thing on the video. It's just that it was,
and there were protests in 50 countries.
Are you still trying to sell it as a protest?
No,
I mean, I can't even believe you're saying that.
This was happening in real time. As soon as information was identified, it was released. That's why, over the course of those weeks, we knew exactly what happened. There was no politicization about this at all. He in the Rose Garden talked about this as a terror attack.
Why did he go to a fundraiser the day after Ambassador was murdered?
I'm telling you, what is happening here, and it's stoked by the talk radio personalities and Fox News, is this alternative reality. It's an amazing thing. It is an amazing thing to see.
You're masters at this.
I'm going to go quickly around the table. Is this going to be an issue in the 2014 midterms? Is it going to end up helping Republicans or helping the Democrats?
I don't think it's going to be decisive, but to the extent the Republicans stay mired in this instead of a positive agenda, I think it hurts them.
I think this will be an issue in 2014 and a bigger issue in 2016.
For Hillary Clinton?
It's 2 o'clock. Who's answering the phone in the White House? Yes, it's going to matter. It's not going to be the only issue. Jobs and the economy are number one.
For a very narrow section of Republicans, this is their whitewater, their fake, trumped-up thing that they want to go for. For most Americans, they feel heartbroken about these 4 Americans who died. They don't want it to happen again, and this administration is doing everything it can to make sure, with no help from Republicans, that it doesn't happen again.
This election's about the economy. It's not about this, but it could have an effect in 2016. I agree.
I agree with that.